Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and communications all over the world through the lens of self-government. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways to nurture your family while problem solving. Crisis can stop the nurturing from happening. And that actually is very detrimental to creating a positive change for the future. So what does it mean to nurture? We're going to be talking about that, and we're going to talk about things you can do to make sure that the hearts unite and become nurtured when a problem needs to be solved. So let's talk about nurturing. What does it mean to nurture? Well, when you nurture, you nourish something, you train something, you instruct, you correct, you help something to grow or to transform. That's what it means to nurture. So if you're going to nurture your family while you are solving problems with them, you've got to have a plan, because what normally happens when there's a problem is people go into a state of crisis and then they go to the middle part of their brain, which is where all of the emotional activity happens. They stop thinking, which is front brain activity, and then they start saying things they shouldn't say and acting in ways that they probably wish they hadn't acted in after the fact. And I know that happens to a lot of people. There are many parents that come to me and say, Nicholeen, why do I do that? I don't want to do that. My parents did that, and I told myself I would never do that. Yet here I am doing that in that situation. I need something new to do. And they're cluing into something really important there. If we're going to nurture a transformation of heart, then we've got to be prepared with the principles and skills ahead of time to facilitate that. Otherwise, we are going to end up stuck every time, and then we resort back to old habits or things we've seen our parents do, which we may not want to duplicate. When a child turns their heart toward their parents, it's usually because they have a good relationship already established. The best learning does happen when you have a relationship or an attachment to the person doing the teaching. So it is important that we try to maintain relationships even when we're teaching a person what they shouldn't have done and what they should have done instead. So let's talk about 5 things that you can do in order to nurture the heart of your child, even though you might have to correct them. The first thing you do actually is something you do way before it's time to do any correction. And that is to create a vision or a picture of what type of a family you're creating in the long run. So if you've determined ahead of time, this is the type of family we're going to have united hearts, we're going to be able to look at each other, we're going to talk openly and honestly with each other. Every time somebody makes a mistake, no big deal, because this place is a safe place to make mistakes. You get the idea. You plan all of these things out ahead of time so that the family knows this is the type of environment that we want to have. And if you spend your time doing that ahead of time, then in the minute you remember what you're supposed to do, and more importantly, they remember. And when you know you've taught them ahead of time, that holds you accountable for following that pattern of aiming in the direction toward that family vision as well. If a person is going to learn self-mastery or self-government, which is really what it means to have a change of heart, then there needs to be a certain structure that is in the environment. Well, what type of a structure would be best for nurturing hearts even when problems need to be solved? This would be a structure that is based upon principles and skills. There are certain skills that we taught all of our children when they were very little, and they've used these skills even into adulthood because they're just life skills. They're for everyone. We've taught our children 4 basic skills that they need for success, and each one of those 4 basic skills has a skill set attached to it. So the 4 basic skills are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. For example, when a person learns to disagree appropriately, then they look at the person, they keep a calm face, voice, and body. So they say that they understand the other person's point of view, they share their point of view, they listen to what the other person has to say, and then they say okay and drop the subject. Those are the steps to disagreeing appropriately. Each one of the 4 basic skills has steps to it, and when a person knows all of those 4 skill sets, that takes care of the majority of the situations where they might run into a problem that needs to be solved. Also on structure, We need to have a consistent way that children are going to be corrected. We need to have consistent praise, some good teaching ahead of time so that things aren't thrown at them and their anxiety levels hit the roof. They need to be prepared for what's coming. This is all part of a structure. In the Teaching Self-Government program, we teach parents how to pre-teach their children so that the children have greater success, also how to correct them and how to praise them and how to help them get calm when they're going completely out of control. These skill sets are vital parent skill sets that the children need to know too, so that they are ready to be communicated with by their parents, and they can accept any feedback that they get from parents along the way. If a family has a specific structure that was established ahead of time for how they will communicate, then when a problem needs to be solved, they don't have to get anxious or worried about how to handle it. Then they just go to their toolbox of skills and find which skill or principle that they need in that moment. So when you have a structure, you're always prepared in the minute, and then it doesn't feel like manipulation to the children. And truly, when they get afraid of their parents, that's what they're afraid of, is being manipulated or mistreated. But when you have a structure laid out, the manipulation goes away, and so does the anxiety. I have 3 more ways to talk about how we can solve problems in a nurturing way, but before I get to that, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of great videos on this channel you're not going to want to miss. And don't forget to hit the notification bell too so that you get notified when new videos come out. Number 3, the tone. The tone of your teaching makes all the difference. So if you have set words that you're going to say, that's wonderful because that decreases anxiety. But now that the anxiety is decreased, we need to increase bonding. How do we increase bonding? By having a certain feeling about ourselves that shows we're safe, we're loving, we're understanding, we accept someone who might be having a problem or who's made a mistake. These are all tone elements. And none of those tone elements that I just listed can exist unless we have a tone element of calmness too. So when a person is calm, then they can give that message to the person that they're correcting that it's okay. It's okay that we're having this conversation. It's okay that you made a mistake and that we need to do a correction. When the family focuses on keeping a certain type of a tone within their interactions and in their home environment, then usually there isn't anything that can't be talked about, and people achieve maximum understanding. Number 4 is problem-solving foresight. So I teach a problem-solving exercise called SOTAs. I learned this when I was doing treatment foster care years ago. SOTAs is an acronym that stands for situation, options, disadvantages, advantages, solution. And my children know that when there is a problem that needs to be solved, I may correct something or I may start teaching, but chances are we are going to be talking about what options we have, what the disadvantages are and advantages are to each of those options, and what solution we would like to pick going forward. This is a very empowering process for a person who has a problem that needs to be solved. So when a family has to solve problems, they can have a meeting or get together and talk about the situation, then discuss their options, the disadvantages, the advantages, and come up with a collective solution that they want to try until they figure out that that maybe doesn't work and they need to come back to the drawing table. After you do enough SOTAs, you usually develop what I call a SOTAs mindset. This means that no matter what experience you're in, you start looking at that experience or that problem that needs to be solved through the lens of a SOTAs exercise. Wait, so-and-so's doing that, but they picked this as their option. Do they see that this is also their option? Aha, what are the disadvantages and advantages to all of these options that I'm seeing? So this just prepares the way to communicate better and solve your problems on your own so that you don't even have to take time to solve those problems with a parent as you grow older. SOTAs exercises are totally liberating. They help develop the prefrontal cortex and help a person right in the minute when they've got a problem. When a problem needs to be solved, lots of times emotions can be running really high because there's power struggles that occur or someone has a worry or an anxiety, some sort of fear that they're dealing with. So it's important to remember the direction that we keep the whole family ship pointed. What is the direction? We had that vision that we created at the very beginning, remember? And that vision has a tone or a feeling that contains calmness. We need to point the ship toward calmness whenever anything is going wrong. First, we land at calmness. Then we can point the ship toward solving whatever problem exists that we need to address. So remember that when your child is angry, when they're frustrated or out of control, do not talk about what the issue is. Talk about getting to calmness first, and then talk about what the issue is. Because as long as a person is in midbrain or back brain, they can't solve their problem. We have to help them get to front brain to solve their problem, and that means they have to calm all of those other parts of the brains that are triggering all of the chemicals leading to these emotional outbursts. This is a big one. Do not allow yourself to be tricked by the severity of a problem, because you can always get to calmness first, and then your problem that ends up being solved will be solved much better and even quicker. Having a nurturing mindset in the middle of problem solving is totally possible. In fact, it makes for the best corrections, the best praises, and the best teaching moments. If you have enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure that you're going to love my next video, which is nurturing the heart of your child. So click on the link to that video now, and I'll see you there.